if I go to animal class, let's actually open the project, this Solution Explorer. So at the top, just click on View Solution Explorer. So now let's actually click on this animal class. And here, look at this line here. In line number 11, you can see that when we actually created this variable, we actually assigned nothing to this variable. We just declared this variable, and inside these methods, inside this setter method, we actually initialized this variable. So initially, when we created this variable, we did not assign any value to this variable. So this means that this variable might have a default value. So what is that default value? The default value for type objects or classes, so string is a class. If I actually hover my mouse pointer over this string, you can see this description. It says class system.string represents text as a series of Unicode characters. So for classes objects, the default value is going to be null. Okay? Null. Null means nothing. So for example, that means if I actually want to specify, if I want to explicitly assign the value null to this variable, I can put an assignment operator and I can just type in here null. Null means nothing, right? So I assigned the value null to this variable, but by default, this value is actually assigned to this variable if you don't provide an initial value for this variable. So I can actually provide an initial value for this variable. I can put an assignment operator, I can put two quotes here, and I can say, so for example, the name of this variable is hi, right? And if I run my project now, so at the top I can just click on debug, start without debugging, you can see this hi here inside the console. So now, as you can see, let me actually close this console area here. So we provided this hi here, but if you don't provide a value for this variable, the default value is going to be null, which means nothing. So now let's go to main class here. So after getting this value, after getting this null value from this get animal name method, so remember when we called get animal name, it's gonna actually go inside this animal class, and it's gonna execute this method, this get animal name method, and it's gonna return the value of this animal name, which now is null, right? So now I can assign a value to this animal name instance variable. So now I think it's the perfect time to talk about instance variables. So for now, let's actually just refer to the name of our lion object dot set animal name, right? And then I put a pair of parentheses, so you know, if you can see this description here, it says void animal dot set animal name. You can see this method accepts an argument. We must provide an argument. So what is the difference between arguments and parameters? The arguments is actually the actual value that we provide for that method. Okay, so when we declared this method inside this animal class, we said that this method is going to have a parameter, right? But when we want to provide the actual value for that method, it is actually called argument. So now inside the parentheses, because you can see that the type of this parameter is string, right? So the argument that I am going to provide for this method must be of type string. So I am going to put two quotes here, and inside the quotes, I can say the name is lion, right? Or I can say the name is, okay, lion, my lion. And then I can put a semicolon at the end of my statement, right? So now I actually set a value to the animal name instance variable. Why? Because I called this set animal name and I provided this value as an argument for this method. So it's gonna actually go inside this animal class and it's gonna execute this method, set animal name. We provided lion as the parameter, as the argument. So it's gonna assign the lion to this animal name instance variable. Notice that when I actually select this animal name instance variable, as you can see, this animal name is actually highlighted. Whenever that we refer to that animal name instance variable, it is actually highlighted. So now let's go to main class, and when I say lion.set animal name, my lion, now we set that my lion value to the animal name. So let's actually output the value of this instance variable my lion to the console again. So here I can say console dot write line, and inside the parentheses again I can refer to the name of this lion variable dot get animal name, and then put a pair of parentheses at the end of the method name, semicolon. Let's run our application now, hold control key down and then press on F5 key on your keyboard. And now it says my lion. You can see this value, my lion, here in the console. And then it says press any key to continue. So just the program is finished. So that's how you can assign a value to your instance variables. So the main question remains, what is an instance variable? So remember that we created an object here, right? And we actually referred to the name of this object, and we can actually call these methods on this object, right? So first, let me talk about instance. Here, when we are creating an object of type animal, so here when I say new animal, I am actually creating an object of type animal, right? This means that we are creating an instance of type animal, so it doesn't really make a difference when you actually call actually this is an object of that type or it is an instance of that type. There is no difference here. I can call this object an instance of type animal. So this means I created an instance of type animal here, and I assigned this instance to this lion variable. So this lion variable now holds an instance of type animal.